Hi, so first of all, I'm Anthony Combe. I'm the New Burdens and Finance Lead in the Simpler Recycling team. And I'm going to run you through the latest information on Simpler Recycling before handing over to Chris Mills from WRAP, who will run you through some of the tools and guidance that they provide. Can I have next slide, please? So in terms of a quick recap, all of the legislation for Simpler Recycling is now in force, meaning that new collection requirements in England for workplaces have already begun, and for households and micro firms, that will begin according to the dates laid out on the slide. We have also published guidance on gov.uk covering collections from workplaces and households, including guidance for waste collectors on the co-collection of paper and card with other dry recyclables. We've also funded WRAP to provide the ETEEP tool and good practice guidance for local authorities to help them to prepare to implement the services. Chris will run through some of these tools and guidance after I've finished running through my slide. Looking ahead, in terms of new burdens funding, LAs have already received their capital transitional funding and the first round of resource transitional funding for food waste. We're planning to notify local authorities of the 25-26 payments in July, so keep an eye out for that. Regarding ongoing funding, we're working at pace through the implications of spending review. But we can confirm, and local authorities may have already seen in the announcement of spending review outcome, that the local government settlement will include funding for the delivery of Simpler Recycling. So the outcome of the settlement will be confirmed by MHCLG later this year. In terms of implementation work, we're working closely with our delivery partners and wider stakeholders. This includes LA and waste industry representative groups, infrastructure representatives, and business sector trade associations. We're also developing our thinking on national and localized comms and understanding where further guidance or support is needed from central government. Finally, from me is a call for case studies, and this is a request across workplaces and LAs where we would like to see examples of good practice across both sectors. So for workplaces, if you're interested to either speak at this forum or be part of a written case study, please contact the recycling mailbox that is on the slide. And for LAs, with examples of good practice, either from the implementation that you've already done or in the implementation as you're rolling it out. Please either feedback via your waste networks or contact the recycling mailbox again, which is on the slide. I'll now pass over to Chris, who will run through the guidance and tools that WRAP provide.
Thank you, Anthony. Good afternoon, everyone. Could we just go to the next slide, please? Yeah, what I'm going to do is just talk for a few minutes about some of the recently issued and reissued tools and supports that WRAP has been developing with the sector and with DEFRA quite closely. I will take you through a few of those. Initially, the ETEEP tool. So this was launched at the end of the last financial year, and essentially because local authorities have a responsibility to undertake an assessment, a written assessment, should they wish to deviate from the government's position on materials collected, notably the separation of paper from the container stream. What we've been working on is a free-to-use tool that can support local authorities to do those written assessments quickly and comprehensively. We had a good workshop, I think last Thursday, with nearly 100 local authorities on going through the tool. There is guidance on the WRAP website, including supporting videos and other tips on how to complete the tool. It's co-located in the local authority portal, And the reason for that is to secure a lot of the council's data and also mirror it with all of the scheme and performance data that RAP collects and processes. It uses a lot of default values that we've gathered from industry, from reprocessors, from people within the supply chain. And essentially, once users have registered and got access, they can use a lot of their own data, and it's pre-populated to make that journey through the tool quite quick. And it is then producing an output reports that can be used in the written assessment. But because it looks at curbside properties and a separate test for the communals or the flatted properties, it's quite a comprehensive overview of the local authority system. So I'd encourage you to go on and have a look at that and register for the service. Go to the next slide, please. The other item that we've been recently published was around good practice guidance for local authorities. Whenever any big national legislation comes out, like the Environment Act, right across government, we see sort of high-level statutory or national guidance produced, but it's always supplemented with much more technical information. And so what we've been doing is working with the sector to try and make sure that there are guidance topics that cover the whole range of services that local authorities are operating, to give it that sort of holistic overview and make sure that each topic sets out a minimum good standard that we could expect households to receive, but does allow councils to go that much further should they wish to do so. So we've been working closely with lots of local authorities and the trade bodies and the networks. Since autumn last year, we presented at the LARAC conference. And essentially what we've got is around 24 topics that we will continue to add to as we work with stakeholders. And they themselves link off to other technical guidance that's being developed. So the link is on the bottom of the slide there. So I'd encourage you to go and have a look at those. Next slide, please. Anthony mentioned food waste collections and all the capital support that's been distributed by government. But with DEFRA, over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been working very closely with a lot of the manufacturers to try and figure out how they would be able to refocus and prepare for this huge demand right across the supply chain that's coming. So through a lot of the close collaboration with a lot of those manufacturers and local authorities with existing services, we built and published a lot of supplementary tools. So there's some specifications for food waste collection vehicles, supplementary procurement guidance, and other supports, including a new procurement database. And what these are all about is trying to move through this process of procurement as quickly and as efficiently as possible, whilst also triggering investment from the manufacturers. Now, last year we did 2 rounds of procurement support to local authorities, and we're continuing that support, that one-to-one support this year. So please come and speak to us if you want to access that in terms of being that critical friend, providing project management support, just basically navigating through all the governance processes in order to kind of fast track your way through this procurement exercise. We have got some webinars coming up. There's one on the 9th of July and one the following week that just goes through what this support looks like. So I would encourage you to sign up for those. Next slide, please. And then lastly, I'll just touch on the local authority support that we've been offering for several years now. Hopefully lots of people on the call will have access at some point. And that's continuing because we realise that lots of authorities need support over the next couple of years as they're rolling out these services and implementing them. So that covers all of the one-to-one support, as well as all of the guidance and resources that are available from the WRAP website that covers things like household food waste collections, all that procurement advice, and all the communications assets. And coming up related to those issues is also some work around rerouting the experience there, and also container delivery, and how to, sharing good practice on how to implement those new services as efficiently and effectively as possible. So please use the website, access the support, and yes, I'm happy to take some questions.